Welcome to our channel. We're so glad you're here to join us on this heartwarming journey. Before we dive into today's story, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop a comment below and let us know. Your thoughts and feedback mean the world to us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on tomorrow's special story. We have so many more touching moments to share, and we can't wait for you to be part of it. Now, sit back, relax, and let's get started with today's adventure. Why was this puppy stealing shoes? The incredible story behind his actions. Rusty, the playful puppy, had a peculiar habit that both entertained and confused his family. Every night, without fail, he would slip out of the house, his small paws quietly padding across the floor as if on a secret mission. He returned each time with something odd in his mouth. Shoes, sneakers, boots, flip-flops, you name it, Rusty would bring it back. At first, his family couldn't help but laugh. They playfully called him their little thief as he trotted in proudly, each shoe dangling from his mouth. But as the days went by, Rusty's nightly escapades started to become less amusing and more mysterious. What started as an innocent habit quickly turned into something that raised eyebrows. His family couldn't understand why he was bringing back shoes, and it became increasingly obvious that it wasn't just a random act of playfulness. For one thing, all the shoes Rusty found were men's shoes. Not just any shoes, either. They all seemed to be the same size, a men's size 11. Why was he only bringing back shoes that belonged to one particular person? After a few days of this strange behavior, the family started to get curious. They'd seen Rusty trot back with shoes in the past, but now it seemed like there was more to the story. They figured it was probably some odd puppy instinct. But when they recognized one of the shoes as belonging to their elderly neighbor, Mr. Thompson, it sent chills down their spines. The shoe was an old, worn-out sneaker, one they'd often seen Mr. Thompson wear around the neighborhood. The family began to ask questions. Why was Rusty bringing back Mr. Thompson's shoes? Was the neighbor missing? And why hadn't anyone noticed anything strange before? The questions hung in the air, growing heavier with each night that passed. Rusty wasn't just fetching shoes anymore. He seemed to be trying to tell them something. Something important. What they didn't know at the time was that Rusty wasn't just playing with shoes. He was playing a vital role in something far more serious than anyone could have imagined. His nightly routine, as odd as it seemed, would soon lead them to a life-or-death discovery. As the days passed, the family couldn't shake off the growing unease. What had started as a quirky behavior from their puppy Rusty began to feel like something far more significant. They had laughed at first, calling him their little thief, but now they couldn't ignore the pattern. Every night, Rusty would sneak out, return with a shoe in his mouth, and proudly trot inside. And not just any shoes, men's shoes, all the same size. What was going on? It was when they noticed the repetitive nature of his nightly ritual that things took a darker turn. At first, it seemed like a harmless game, but now it was becoming something they couldn't simply laugh off. The shoes weren't random. They all appeared to belong to the same person, a man with a size 11 foot. And that wasn't all. The family started to recognize one of the shoes. It was an old, worn-out sneaker, something they had seen their elderly neighbor, Mr. Thompson, wear on his daily walks. This discovery sparked a wave of suspicion and concern. Why was Rusty bringing back Mr. Thompson's shoes night after night? The thought alone sent a chill through their spines. They started to question everything. Mr. Thompson was a reclusive man who lived on the outskirts of the neighborhood, so it wasn't uncommon for him to be quiet or out of touch with the world. But now, it seemed strange that Rusty was bringing back shoes from a man who, as far as they knew, hadn't been seen around in a while. Was he missing? Had something happened to him? The more they thought about it, the more unsettling it became. Rusty, in his own way, seemed to be trying to communicate something. The family couldn't figure out what it was. Was it a game, or was it a cry for help? They had no idea, but they couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. They decided it was time to take action and find out what was really going on. Little did they know, Rusty's innocent-looking game was the key to unraveling a mystery that no one could have predicted. And so, the family's curiosity grew, and they realized they couldn't ignore the strange behavior any longer. What would they find when they finally uncovered the truth? Would it be the answer they hoped for, or would it lead them into something far more dangerous than they had imagined? The answers, they soon realized, were just around the corner. The more the family thought about it, the more the mystery deepened. Why was Rusty, their playful puppy, so fixated on Mr. Thompson's shoes? It couldn't just be a coincidence. Each night, Rusty brought back shoes, men's shoes, size 11, every single time. And one shoe in particular stood out, the worn out sneaker they recognized as Mr. Thompson's. The same old sneaker he had been wearing for years. It was unsettling, and the more they pondered it, the more questions piled up. Was Mr. Thompson missing? If so, why had no one noticed? He was a quiet, reclusive man, but surely someone would have seen or heard something by now. The family's unease grew with every passing day. The more they thought about it, the more it seemed like Rusty was trying to tell them something, something important. It wasn't just about shoes anymore. The puppy wasn't playing a game. He was trying to communicate, but what was he trying to say? That's when the family decided they couldn't wait any longer. The mystery had gone on long enough. It was time to figure out the truth. They couldn't ignore the signs any longer, and their instinct told them something was wrong. They decided to visit Mr. Thompson's house, the place where the shoes had been coming from. The house was only a few blocks away, and though it was always quiet, there was something unsettling about it now. The door, usually shut tight, was wide open. And yet, no one was inside. The house looked like it had been abandoned, with furniture overturned and dust covering every surface. The air felt heavy, like something was off. The family wondered if Mr. Thompson had left, but why would he leave his door wide open? If he was gone, why had Rusty been bringing back his shoes? The questions lingered, unanswered and haunting. The family stood there for a moment, uncertain of what to do next. They wanted to believe that everything was fine, that maybe they were just overthinking things. But deep down, they knew they had to keep looking. Something didn't add up. They couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible had happened to Mr. Thompson, and it was connected to the shoes Rusty had been bringing back. Rusty was trying to tell them something, and they had to find out what it was before it was too late. The family's visit to Mr. Thompson's house only deepened their confusion. They had found the door wide open, the house in disarray, but still no sign of the elderly man. The unsettling feeling in the pit of their stomachs grew stronger with every unanswered question. What had happened to him? If Mr. Thompson was gone, why would Rusty, of all dogs, be bringing back his shoes every night? And why hadn't anyone noticed that he was missing? But it wasn't just the shoes. There was something more urgent. Rusty's behavior had changed. He wasn't just fetching shoes for fun anymore. The puppy had become a silent messenger, trying to tell them something that they couldn't yet comprehend. And that's when the family realized they couldn't just wait around and hope that the mystery would solve itself. It was time to follow Rusty. The next evening, they watched as Rusty once again slipped out of the house, trotting toward the darkened streets with a shoe in his mouth. This time, the family decided to follow him. They walked quietly behind, careful not to alert him to their presence. As they moved through the empty streets, Rusty led them past the abandoned garden, through narrow alleys, and down to a forgotten part of the neighborhood. Eventually, they arrived at an old, dried-up well, something they hadn't noticed before, buried in the corner of the overgrown yard. Rusty stopped there, standing at the edge, barking loudly with the same shoe still in his mouth. The family froze, watching in silence. What was he trying to tell them? Then they heard it. A faint, weak voice coming from deep within the well. It was a voice that was barely audible, but unmistakable. Help! Please! The family's hearts stopped. They rushed to the edge of the well, peering down into the dark, narrow opening. There, at the bottom, they saw Mr. Thompson. He was pale, his leg wrapped in a dirty cloth, his body weak from days of being trapped. Rusty had led them to him. The realization hit them hard. The puppy had been bringing back Mr. Thompson's shoes not out of mischief, but as a signal, a cry for help. He had been trying to get their attention, to lead them to the elderly man who had fallen into the well days ago, unable to climb out. Rusty wasn't playing a game. He had been saving Mr. Thompson's life all along. The family scrambled to get help. As Mr. Thompson was pulled from the well, his eyes filled with tears of gratitude. You saved my life, little one, he whispered, clutching Rusty in a tight embrace. Rusty had completed his mission. He had saved the day. And for the first time, the family realized just how important this little puppy had been all along. The family's heart raced as they watched Mr. Thompson, weak and shaken, being pulled from the well. Rusty stood close by, his small body trembling with anticipation, but also with relief. For days, the little puppy had been bringing back shoes, seemingly just a silly game at first. But now it was clear that Rusty had been playing a far more crucial role. He had led them to Mr. Thompson when no one else could, saving his life without ever realizing the true extent of what he was doing. As soon as Mr. Thompson was safely out of the well, he collapsed into the arms of the family, his voice cracking as he whispered, "You saved my life, little one." Tears welled up in the family's eyes as they watched the elderly man, fragile and exhausted, but alive. It was a powerful moment that would stay with them forever. And yet, in the midst of the emotions, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of admiration for Rusty. This playful, mischievous puppy had been the key to solving the mystery, to rescuing a life. The paramedics arrived soon after, taking Mr. Thompson to the hospital where he would receive the care he so desperately needed. The family was left standing there, awestruck by the turn of events. They had thought it was just a strange, amusing quirk of Rusty's, a dog playing with shoes. But now they understood. Rusty wasn't playing. He had been trying to communicate, trying to tell them something important, something they would have missed if they hadn't followed him. From that night on, Rusty never brought back another shoe. His job was done. He had saved Mr. Thompson, and that was the most important thing. The family couldn't help but think about how incredible it was that such a small, innocent creature had played such a huge part in saving a life. And as they watched Rusty, now content and calm, they realized that his little game was never about the shoes. It had been about saving someone in need. Rusty's actions would go down in their family's history as a story of heroism. The puppy who brought back shoes wasn't just a playful pet. He was a lifesaver, and they would never forget the incredible bond that had led them to that life-changing moment. We'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Rusty's incredible story? It's amazing how a small puppy could play such a big role in saving someone's life, right? Do you have any similar stories where animals have done something extraordinary? Maybe your pet has acted in a surprising way? Or perhaps you've witnessed something that left you in awe of an animal's instincts. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. We want to know where you're watching from, and if you've ever experienced a moment like this with an animal. And remember, your comments mean so much to us. We love reading them, and we always try to reply to as many as we can. So, whether it's a thought about today's story or a suggestion for future ones, we're all ears. If you found this story inspiring or heartwarming, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who would enjoy it. Your support helps us keep bringing you these incredible tales. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss tomorrow's special story. We have plenty more to share, and we can't wait to bring you on this journey with us. See you in the next video.